Whew. I can do this. I can do this. So I'm going to try very hard not to cry on this video, but I feel like it'll be very therapeutic, and I hope and pray that it can encourage somebody else who's on this journey. So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rajanee. I'm a mom to 2 little ones and a wife as well. And today I'm going to be talking about my miscarriage story. So, with grief or any type of loss, you think that time can heal, and in some cases it can, but when you talk about those things openly, it can come out, it can sometimes resurface those same emotions that you felt that was happening during that same time frame. And as I was thinking about, I was contemplating back and forth whether or not I was going to do this video, but I just felt led to do it and hopefully encourage somebody else and know that you're not alone and you can do this with the help of the Lord. It all started when we got that positive pregnancy test. Me and my husband were really thrilled. At that time we had already had our daughter, who was 2.5, and we were just really excited to, welcome another little one into the world. Just a little background, I never really thought about, miscarriage. I never thought that it would affect me. Like, who think they would ever have a miscarriage? It's something that was never really spoken about, or, I didn't know anybody personally who had experienced one, so I never really, heard anything about it, until it, happened to me. Sorry. I'm not gonna cry. Just give me one moment. So, we got that positive test, and we were so excited. I already calculated, the due date, and it was at that time it was in June. It was like June 5th, and I was just like, oh, so excited we have this summer baby. And, we were just so thrilled. At that time we didn't tell anybody. I had went ahead and set my first appointment, like you normally do. You set your first GYN appointment. I had set that up. They wait. It was a far up time, at least 6 weeks away, because they want to confirm and make sure your numbers are rising and all that. So we just waited around, just start planning as any other new parent would do. And mind you, we already had a daughter, so we knew what to expect. So as the days go by, I noticed, one day I woke up, I noticed some spotting. And I was just like, oh, okay. That can be very normal. That can be very normal with early pregnancy. So I didn't think much of it. So I just went about my day like normal. And then I noticed it was getting a little heavier. I still try not to think about it, trying to freak myself out. And of course, I went into Google, and Google gives you all these things, like it can be implantation bleeding, if I'm not mistaken, the egg fertilizer and all that stuff, just the normal stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I remember it so vividly because it was around Halloween, and just went about my business, and I went to work. At that time I was a preschool teacher, and I was just so excited, seeing all the little bitty babies come in and out, and all that stuff, all the parents with the newborns and stuff. So I was just really excited that we was gonna have another little one in our home. And I noticed that the bleeding, it didn't stop. It just kept going. And I was like, oh yeah, this not right. If you being a parent before, the signs of, or you get that instinct feeling that something's not quite right. So I did my research, and I was just like, oh, this is something different. This is something that I didn't expect. At the time, I still didn't tell anybody. It was just, me and my husband, we just trying to work through it. And after some time we got, pretty much like, okay, this is, we need to look into it. We went ahead and went to the ER. And they ran my blood work. Being in the ER, it takes so long for everything. And They ran my blood work, like, oh yeah, you know, you are in fact pregnant. We can't say if it's a miscarriage or not, because you know, you're still very early in pregnancy. So it was like I was at least like 5-6 weeks pregnant at the time. It's like, you know, just, we're gonna set you up for, mind you, this is on a Friday, so you know, we're gonna set you up for ultrasound the next morning, the following morning. So I had to come back. Mind you, my husband, he had to go to work the next day, so it was just me and my daughter. We just went on and got the ultrasound. I was still holding on to hope. I still had that faith that all will be well, if I be honest. But it was very scary, because I just, so you know, when you want something so bad and when you feel like it's not necessarily going the way that you planned, it can be very frightening. It was, for me, it was very unknown territory, because as I said before, I never experienced a miscarriage. I never did any research. I never knew anybody personally around me who ever experienced one. So, you know, it was just very shocking, to say the least. So the following morning, me and my daughter, we went up to get the ultrasound. And if anybody has ever gotten an ultrasound at the doctor's office, you know, they doing everything. They're not telling you nothing. They're not saying nothing. You know, they pressing all these buttons. It was just very quiet. You know, even my daughter was there. She was just, you know, it was just quiet. It was just silence. And she gave me, you know, she was like, okay, well, the doctor's going to call you or whatever. You got to set another appointment. You have to go to your doctor. I'm like, okay, you know, at that point, I'm still holding on to hope. You know, like, okay, Lord, I know this is for a reason. Baby's going to come, you know. And it's interesting because, you know, even being early on pregnant, I never knew, you know, that you can love something, love a being that you never even seen. Like, you know, when I was pregnant with my daughter, I already loved her when I was pregnant with her. I just loved her. I never seen her face. I never knew what she looked like. I just automatically loved her. And it's so interesting when you're pregnant, how you just automatically love that child without even meeting it or know what it's going to be about. So I had love. I loved that being that I was carrying. Even being so early, I had love for it. I was, you know, and I was still having the symptoms of being pregnant. I was having headaches. I was very exhausted. I was like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant. You know, I'm like, I'm pregnant. You know, this is, everything's gonna be all right. This bleeding just, you know, minor or whatever. So I went to work the next, that Monday morning, and, you know, I was just still holding on to prayer. I was just holding on to prayer. I was just holding on to the Lord. I was just truly holding on. You know, my husband, he was a very great support system. But you know, he's a man, so it's different. You know, it's just different. And he was trying his best to help me through the situation. And I truly appreciate my husband, because he truly held me. He held my hand through this process as much as he knew how, as much as he could. So the following Monday, I had called the doctor's office to see, you know, they called my regular OBGYN office to make sure, see they had the results. And they was like, well, you know, you have to go back to the office and get the result. They put on a disc so they can see it or whatever. So I'm like, oh my God, they should have gave me that, you know, gave me that while I was there to make the extra trip. But, you know, I held on. I kept holding on to faith. And, you know, mind you, nobody knows but just me and my husband. So I had to tell my director at my job, you know, since I'm a preschool teacher, I'm like, I have to leave early. And I ultimately had to tell her what was going on. And I'm so grateful that the Lord surrounds you with people that are faith-filled, who trust and believe the word just like you. And I'm so grateful for her, because when she said, I'm praying for you, I felt it, and I felt that it was genuine. So I'm so grateful for just that. You know, I'm grateful for that. Her words meant so much, you know, during that time. And she, you know, she obliged, and, you know, I left work early that day to go pick up the results, to go to my to go to the doctor's appointment that was set for later in the week. And around this time, excuse me, I had to let my mom know what was going on. And I let her know what was going on, and, you know, she was praying with me and stuff like that. And I had to let her know because, you know, I felt like it was time for me to let her know. And I'm grateful that I did, because with the doctor's appointment, it was a day where my husband couldn't get off of work. So my mother offered to go to the doctor's appointment with me so I wouldn't be alone. So me and her and my daughter, we all went to my doctor's appointment to get the results of what was going on as far as the pregnancy, and, you know, just to know, because I, you know, at that point I still didn't think that I was having a miscarriage. I just didn't think that, you know. And the days were going on and the bleeding didn't stop, and I was just like, oh, this is just not normal. So I went to the doctor's appointment with my mom and my daughter, and first they like, okay, we're gonna go back and get your blood, you know. And I went back there and got my blood drawn, and they went to do another ultrasound, and she told me, you know, we're looking at the screen and stuff, and, you know, being a mom before, I know what the screen looks like, and I know that I should be progressing in pregnancy. And I looked at the screen, but you could see the sac, but it was nothing in it. And she was like, well, we see the sac and there's nothing in there, so I believe that you did miscarry. And it was just silence, because I think that at that time that I had already mourned, or, you know, I was already grieving what was happening to me. I was already processing it. So I think for me, that was pretty much confirming what I had already knew. And I felt like the Lord had already prepared me for that, if that makes sense. And she gave me the news, and, you know, I was just, in a sense, shocked, but I knew what the Lord had in store for us. I knew that if this wasn't it, I knew that this wouldn't be the end. This wouldn't be the end of my story. And sorry, I had to adjust the camera, but I knew that whatever the outcome was, I knew that that wasn't going to be the end of my story. And once I got those final results, me and my husband talked about it. We was like, you know, whatever the Lord's timing for us to have another child, it will happen in His timing. And I trust the process that it's going to take, because if I never went through a miscarriage, I would never know how to, I would never know how to empathize with somebody else who has gone through it. I might be sympathetic, but it's different, you know, when you actually have gone through the process. So even in that, I'm grateful for the process. I'm grateful that the Lord chose me to go through that, you know, because if I be honest, at some point I was like, Lord, why me? I'm like, ain't nobody else has experienced it. My mom had never had a, you know, a miscarriage. I was like, why me? But it's like, at one point I was like, why not me? What makes me better than anybody else? So I'm just so grateful that I took that out of it and not be upset with the Lord, because I don't know why it happened, but I know that it helped me. It helped me to be more grateful for when it was our time to have another child. I would just be more grateful about it. You know, doesn't mean that that it was easy, but with the Lord help and with people surrounding me who were faith-based, you know, when I opened up about it, I was so surprised with all the other women who had gone through that. I was just so surprised and so shocked, because it's so, you know, it's kind of like hush hush in a sense. So I'm just so grateful that I opened up about it and let my story be known to other women around me, because I was just quite surprised that other women who have gone through that experience as well. And I'm here to say that the Lord, He did in fact bless us. We were able to conceive our second child a month later, and we welcomed our baby boy in August of the following year. So I'm sorry, not August, July of next year. His due date was August, but he came on in at the very end of July. So I'm just really grateful for this entire experience, and I pray and I hope that it can encourage you on this process. If your experiences, or you know somebody else who's going through it currently, just pray for them. if they want, hold their hand through the process and know that you're there, be of any assistance to them as they see fit. You know, just love them, but most importantly, just pray them through that process, because it can be very, you know, hurtful. And, you know, even though I never met this being, you still love that. You still love that child. You still love that child, regardless if it never made it earthside or not. You still love that child, and it's something that you mourn about it as well. So I'm just grateful, and I hope that this video helped you in some shape or form. And if you can, please give me a big thumbs up, and even share this video to someone else who might be going through it, to know that they're not alone. But until next time, be safe.